say a word of welcome. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another session of the Hong Kong Study Circle, Hong Kong Philatelic Society joint meeting. And tonight, there will be 3 sessions, each of about 40 minutes each. And the theme for this evening, or this morning, or this afternoon, will be King George VI. Our editor, Nick Halewood, has promised us that he will give us an intro or detailed talk on the King George VI. So it will probably last the whole of session 1. And so if any other people, I know Susan has got something to present. If any other people have anything to show, you can actually maybe show it in the 2nd or the 3rd session. Okay, so without further ado, I think I hand over to Nick to do the talk. Nick, you want to share your file or something? Yeah.
I'm actually mainly talking about the $10 George VI definitive, but of course, a lot of the things I'm talking about concerns every other value. And shall I get my presentation? This is the first time I've done this, so hopefully. Host disabled participant screen sharing.
Yes, wait a minute. Now I'll do that. Okay, there you go. Yes, you are enabled now.
Okay.
Okay, good.
And now I want to put that into. Do you have that big now?
Yep.
So I'm mainly talking about the $10, which is my favorite. Of course, it's the high value. That's a good reason to be a favorite. And particularly post-war colors. The pre-war one is a bit boring. There was only one printing. And also, I think it's over catalogued at £700 a piece. Anyway, this exhibit is basically built, this presentation is built around a non-competitive exhibit I showed in Hong Kong in 2015. 1 frame, so 16 pages. As a member of the Patrons Club, I was able to, if I wanted to exhibit up to 1 frame, and I did one on the $10. And this is the first page of my exhibit. If you want to read, just read that part and the part under the picture. Forget the rest. So the exhibit was showing printings, plate floors, and usage of the $10. And the thing I like about this issue was they reintroduced the Juba design that was used for the Victorian issue. And so the $10, there were 9 printings, of which 7 were on chalky paper and 2 on wartime, what some people call ordinary substitute paper. And 2 were in the old colors and 7 were in the new colors. But I'm now pretty sure that there is only 1 printing in the old colors extant. I think the second printing which would have had letter C, that they have serial sheet numbers with a prefix letter. C, I think that all went down with either 1 or 2 ships, I think. Anyway, we'll deal with that later. And this is from a book called British Postage Stamp Design by John Easton, which I love. It's great. He goes through design, Commonwealth design right from the beginning, from Victoria, and gives interesting comments on them, I should say. I like that bit. Stand out like the memory of a quiet anchorage on the evening after a turbulent regatta. Here is the quiet anchorage. And here is the turbulent regatta. I find that these two just too fussy. That I find far more preferable. Anyway, each unto his own. And this sheet, according to Gibbons, is worth £84,000. 120 stamps at £700 a stamp. I never owned this, incidentally. I went in Ming Stang. How do you pronounce T-S-A-N-G?
We call it Zhang. Ming Zhang.
Okay, so yeah, Ming Zhang. I went into his office in Star House, and there he had this sheet on the counter, and I think it must have been in one of his auctions, and he let me. I pored over it for about 2 hours studying it. It was great because I could find all the flaws that I knew about and could confirm that they were on the first printing. This is showing a typical sheet layout for this issue. This picture comes from this illustration comes from a book that David Anshel and I produced in 1992, 28 years ago. This is I didn't own this, unfortunately. This is a high value key plate die proof from the Delarue striking book. So they had a book where they did die proofs, they stuck them in, and then January the 24th was the date. That would be 1938. And 100 plus 6, I don't understand, because 100 leads, it means 100 leads or leads, plus 6. Now, a sheet was 120 positions, so I don't know what they did with only 100 plus 6. Has anybody got an explanation for that? I could imagine 120 plus 6 extra in case they had trouble with some. And number 1 is indicating that it's key plate 1. There were 2 key plates used for the high values. I've never seen an example of, I've never seen a proof of key plate 2. This I did own. This is my explanation is being occluded by faces. It's just it's a plate proof on white glazed card, which I think there's a lot of them about. A lot of the colonies had these proofs like this. And I had at one time the $1, the $2, and the $5. This is the duty plate die proofs, but unfortunately never came across the $10 one, which is what I wanted. And here's the in the first colors. Now, this block on the bottom left has the number in the traditional, in the normal place. Or you'll find all of the values on the first printing V with the letter V, the number would be in that position. Then I came across this block once where the number is in a different position. A position which actually later became the normal position. Now, the oddity here is that there were 136 sheets, or equivalent of 136 sheets, sent out to Hong Kong. And this, of course, is above 103. Sorry, I should have said 1,036. So this is obviously higher than 1,036. And what I think happens is damaged sheets, the damaged part will be removed, and then what was left would be numbered sequentially. So probably in the end, there were 1,036 the equivalent of 1,036 sheets actually went out, but in more than 1,036 pieces, if you see what I mean. Some sheets, some part sheets. So the ordered quantity should be thought of as full sheet equivalents, meaning they got 1,036 times 120 stamps in the end. This is, I'm talking about the requisition consignment letter. Sorry, I don't like that use of requisition letter, although that's what most people use. Consignment letter C, what I call the 3 missing printings. If you look at the table, here we have 4 dispatch dates and 5 values. There were 5 values other than the ones printed with the wartime perf on for letter C, 1 cent, $1, $2, $5, $10. There's the number of sheets dispatched. Now, I've never seen examples of the 1 cent, the $5, or the $10. And it just happens that they are there on those two dates. Whereas you do find the dollar is there and there, and you do find the $2. So I'm just wondering whether those 2 dispatches got lost. Some U-boat got the ship as it went down the west coast of Africa or somewhere. Because the $2 and the $1 with the consignment letter C are very common. And most of it is probably looted stock too. You find them in complete panes. And in the case of the $2, it's always left panes. I've never seen an example of the $2 with consignment letter C on the right pane. Whereas the dollar, you can find them both on the left pane and the right pane. This is just showing a big cover that I used to own. Nice cover with, where's the breakdown of the rate? Yeah, that was rated at $2.80 per half ounce airmail times 39, which gave a total of $109.20.
Oh.
Here is a nice block of 8, and this is a vertical pair. I don't know why I went back. Now the block, I know where it comes from. It comes from the top right of the right pane, because it has this floor. Can you see the S? Has been squashed down, and on the enlarged one, you can see that. And that was constant for a certain while, and then it was repaired. You can see I'm a fly speck philatelist. And in David and my book, we've got that, given that number 172. So the position is right pane, row 2, stamp 6. The normal convention, isn't it? They put right pane and then they say R for row, and then the row number, and then the stamp number, which I think this is better. This is much more simple. It shows you the pane, the row number, and the stamp number very concisely. And it's this floor here. These are stock pages I have where if I find examples, I just tuck them in there. And at the time, I've just put plus C and E. This is from 1992, so there's been a lot more data added to that. This is an interesting flaw that Wilson Wong pointed out to me. Actually, it's flaws. It's progressive, although I don't understand how it gets from that to that. But this one is only found on V, this one only on F, and then this one on K. And I also, luckily, I found a cover with that flaw on. And here it is. Actually, there are two other flaws. There's the character that I've just shown you, but on the same stamp, there is progressive damage to the L, the double L in dollar. And you see that little box there? There are 3 little nicks, and those are constant. They're always found there and not found on other values, on the other positions. Oh, there was the change of colors. It's always been assumed it was because of looting. To prevent people from using looted stock, they changed the colors of the high values. So you can see the $2 colors went to the 1, the $5 went to the 2, and the $10 went to the 5, and the $1 colors went all the way around for the $10. Which I suppose means you could, somebody might have got away with using a pre-war $1 as a post-war $10. Maybe in poor light, the colors would be the same. I don't think there was a way of avoiding. The $10 would always be in the colors of a lower value, whichever way they did it. And there are the old colors and the new colors. Now we start. D and E, they were on substitute paper, and D was effectively an emergency printing. It was sent out, although they were actually issued in the colony at the same time. Sorry, I shouldn't use that word colony. I'll say Hong Kong at the same time. But the thing about D is there were only 100 sheets and they all went to Hong Kong. Sheets. Some of which went, as I'm going to show you in a minute, went to Crown agents. Crown agents started taking stock from De La Rue for sale to dealers and collectors. It's the first time that they suddenly realized there's a way of, this is a source of philatelic income. And that's why at the bottom, you can see paper printing, which had E, but there's a block with F. And the reason for that was D all went to Hong Kong, E predominantly, most of it went to Hong Kong, but some of it went to Crown agents. So then Crown agents had its first stock of the new colors was E. The third printing, so it has the letter F. This is extremely hard to explain. So they sent some of the new stock, the new printing with the F printing, to Crown agents, and Crown agents returned the same number of sheets, which meant I don't know how many it was. So if 100 sheets went to Crown Agents, then Crown Agents returned 100 e-printing. And those sheets that returned were numbered together with the new printing with the letter F. And this happens all the way through to the Queen Elizabeth set too. So that it's F, but it's on substitute paper. It's on the paper that the e-printing was printed on. So Delarue, let's talk about D. None was sent to CA. It all went to to Hong Kong. Then they printed E, and some of that went to Crown Agents. So again, nothing came back, of course, because there wasn't anything to come back. So some of the e-printing went to Hong Kong. They sent some of the third printing F to Crown Agents. So now Crown Agents has E and F. It has, but they had this system where they would send the same number, for accounting purposes, send the same number of sheets back that they got. So a bunch of E went back to be numbered with the A. Now Crown Agents has E, F, and K. And in that exchange, they probably sent some of E and some of F back to Delarue to be numbered with the new printing, the K printing. I don't have many examples with George VI. The first Queen Elizabeth letter I had a lot. I had beautiful. You had this business of stock, obviously stock carried that had come back again and gone out with a new printing. Here are D and E to compare. I love D. D is one of my favorite printings. E is the least attractive to me. E is the one I call the philatelic print. It's the first $10 in the new colors that Crown Agents got. So if you buy a straight set, a collector buys a straight set, inevitably he gets E, because somebody, they got their first $10 and that's it. They weren't going for the different printings. They just had the $10 in the new color. So in my eyes, the least attractive printing. Now we move on. Now we've got true F, and there's K, and I've got M in the middle. It's for balance. It should actually go, it should be at the right, because also this is when key plate 2 was introduced. This is when I first started to collect requisition blocks, as they're called, because you see the hinge marks, remains of a hinge. I got a straight set of post-war blocks. I think it was John Bull. No mention of margins, because somebody had put them on leaves. They'd folded and used the front of the margins to hinge the blocks onto the pages. So suddenly I get this block, and every single one that I got was a requisition block. I'm going to call them that for ease. And slowly I when I found a better example, I replaced them, but I never found another one of K. But in a way, it's a nice reminder of a fantastic find when I suddenly realized. And here's a case of stock carried across, which I mean came back. So that single with the letter Q is actually the printing that was the end printing. And here, remember the EF was a case of the paper. This is a case of the Q. They changed, not Q, they started top feed. The sheets went into the perforator from the top, which means the top is not perforated and the bottom of the sheet is perforated. But this is Q with the top margin perforated, which, so the shade is correct. It was bottom feed, so the top margin is perforated through. As we're going to see Q in a minute, Q you will see has an imperforate top margin. And just to fill the space, I have one of a bad plate registration. I think it's been well established that the key plate was printed first and then the duty plate. Duty plate, it was a bit off to the left. I'm comparing F and K, but unfortunately, I suddenly didn't have a mint F. F is a much sort of harder looking shade, whereas K has a redder look to it, and also is a bit what I call blurry. The lines are not as distinct as they are on other printings, presumably slightly wrong or slightly off. Here's M. Now M, I told you D was one of my favorites, and this is my other favorite, M. Very distinct. Look at the duty plate color. No, none of the others have that deep blue. Very, very characteristic. This is plate 2 because you see the perforation pinning point and at the top of the gutter too. Whereas on plate 1, they were eccentric, meaning either left or right, below the left or right perfs. Do we have, oh, we have examples later maybe. And here's Q. Can you see? Top margin imperforate because the sheet was fed in from the top. And I've got a strip of 3 on a cover to Mexico. You find that pairs and strips are usually vertical because I think it was standard practice in post offices and maybe companies with their own stock. They separated it into columns, not rows. So you'd start from one side of the sheet and take off a column of 10 stamps. You very rarely see horizontal pairs or strips.
Okay, Nick, we are about to be cut off, so you can continue your story about.
Well, I'm taking too much time. I can speed it up when we come to the next section.
You can come back in roughly about 5 minutes time to give the second half of your presentation.
Yeah,
okay.
It's actually less than second half, so there'll be time for somebody else.
Sure, yeah. Okay, so right, carry on.
Oh, not quite yet. Oh, no. I thought you. That's just showing the difference between bottom feed and top feed. So this is bottom feed because the top is perforated through. This is, wait a minute, let me get, this is top, wait, that's bottom feed, this is top feed because the bottom margin is perforated through.